What is up, people? Welcome back to Throttling Frames. This is your host Mayur, and we're back with another exciting simulator. I love simulators and strategy games. These are one of those most detailed things that the gaming world has to offer to nerdy gamers like me. So this is the Train Sim World 2, basically the Train Simulator World 2, and I'm really amazed to see what this game or the simulator has to offer. It's crazy. It's way too detailed that at times it just gets very difficult and tedious to work around. You only called a simulator a good simulator when it has the smallest details included in the simulator. So yep, it definitely is an amazing simulator. That goes without a doubt. What I'm going to do in this series of videos that I'm planning to make is basically try and play around with the trains and try to learn while teaching because I have no idea how these locomotives work, but let's just try to figure out. Yeah, simple. All right, before we get into the simulation, let me tell you that I am a huge fan of this movie called Unstoppable. This movie is by Denzel Washington, great actor, amazing guy. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this movie, and then just that's probably the only movie that I've actually purchased. I do not really want to rely on to any of the streaming platforms for that movie. I need it to be with me all the time. So it's one of those inspirational movies for me that actually keep me going. Like I've watched Unstoppable 50-60 times. I'm not sure, but yeah, I just love that movie. And that movie is about a true incident that happened in Pennsylvania railroading. It was one of the craziest things two railroad engineers did in the past. So it's if you haven't watched that movie, please go and watch that movie. It's an amazing movie. It's available on Apple TV. All right, now coming back to Train Sim World 2, I am a huge fan of the sand patch grade because, again, coming back to the movie, I'm more inclined towards these huge beastie monster looking trains. There's massive masculine locomotives that actually move tons and tons of huge freight line. Yeah, crazy. It's just, I don't know. I mean, the calculations are beyond my imagination. It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. Right. Apart from that, the base simulation, the base game, let's call it game. The base game has to offer these three tiles. The sand patch grade. Then there's this tile wherein I think you get to operate the bullet trains. Yeah. Probably, I don't know. It is that German? I don't know. Schnell, Farsch, Zureke. I don't know what that is. And then there is this London Underground Bakerloo line that basically is the London Metro. So yeah, I am going to explore these two later, little later. But I am starting with the sand patch grade because why not? So once you are in the sand patch grade tile, you can see there are a couple of more tiles over here. Like I said, I don't know how these trains move or what do you do in railroading. I'm very new to this thing, but I'm equally excited to know. So yeah, Explore panel is the one that I'd like to choose, right? So you can see there are these 8 training lessons. That's the first thing that I think you should be doing when you are playing this simulation. So training, there are these 8 very basic lessons. I have finished all of the 8 lessons, but I'm going to start a series where I'll be doing all of these lessons again, and then probably jump on to the thing called scenarios, wherein I have finished the first scenario, a helping hand. Basically, here you have to actually drive a train from a location to a location, yeah, and then you have to deliver something to a location. You have to go refill coal in your train and things like that. So helping hand is quite an immersive experience of the train driving. Yeah. So we'll get there eventually, but I'm going to start from training again because that's going to be sort of a revision for me. That basically is going to help me just revise what I've learned till now. Although I have a couple of complaints. Let's just start with sand patch grade introduction. So I have a couple of complaints. These introductory lessons, they don't really have a lot of details into it. They have very basic controls that the game wants to
Welcome to
teach.
Train Sim World 2, an immersive and highly detailed rail simulation featuring authentic routes and trains from around the world.
So there we go. We have the controls with us, and then we are also going to have a narrator that's going to keep telling me what I have to do to get more familiar with the simulator, right? Let's press E to begin.
You've just been awarded some action points. These are displayed in the top right corner of the screen and count towards your overall experience. It is necessary to be fully observant of the surrounding world. Practice by looking up, down, left, and right.
Right, so now basically it wants me to know the mouse movements. So let's just look up, look down, look at the left and the right. Would you like to invert your vertical axis? Nope, thank you so much.
Besides operating trains, there are lots of requirements to navigate on foot. Try moving around now.
All right, so like I said, I have some complaints about it. This could have explained a little more in detail as to why do I have to get on foot in a simulator. It's an amazing thing though. It's an amazing, I really appreciate, because a lot of other simulators don't really let you walk. Like for that matter, truck simulator, or for that matter, flight simulator, they don't really let you walk. You know, there's no walk feature in these simulators. Although these are absolutely amazing simulators, they are super detailed, and I love playing them. I have hours and hours, countless hours hooked onto those simulators. But yeah, I mean, none of those simulators have this feature called walk. I mean, almost all of these machines that you're driving, I'd like to get down from my truck and walk around and look at the truck from the exterior. But apart from my cameras, I can't really do that with a character walking. Although you don't really see any of the feet or hands of the driver, so there's nothing really. Basically, there's just a camera that just walks. But I mean, yeah, it's there. The feature's there. It's present, right? And I appreciate that. But like I said, it basically tells a lot less about why and more about how. Right? So it just tells you you can use WASD to walk around. Let's just reach here. And then reach here. So before we reach here, even if the game does not explain, I have, with the time that I spent on this simulator, I've sort of understood that you have a lot of work to do even on the ground when it comes to railroading. So basically, you can run along the length of the train. You can wait. Let me just see if I can cross tracks from over here. No, I can't. That's weird. I don't know. So basically, you can go in between two locomotives, or in between where the locomotive connects the bogies or the freight carts, and then you can connect or disconnect the connection links. Yeah. So basically, yeah, there is a lot of groundwork to be done. So that involves a lot of walking on the ground. That's exactly what I would like to know, but the game does not tell you. So there we go.
This is one of many interactives to be discovered, but not all of them will be as easy to find as this one. Climb aboard and take a seat in the cab with the engineers for a short ride.
All right. So talking about the graphics, they look neat. I mean, I'm not too happy about these graphics because I think they could have done a better job with the assets. The car here looks from a game that was produced in 90s, if I'm not mistaken. Because look at the reflections. The reflections are only on the windows. There are barely, or rather zero, reflections on the body of the car. So yeah, I mean, the models can do a lot better. Apart from that, if you can see the building, there's a lot of low poly stuff going on here. Pre-rendered textures, just to save up on the on the processing time or probably the rendering time, I can say. But I mean, who's complaining? It's a simulator, and there's a lot that goes inside the locomotive than outside. So I'm okay with the with the world around me. It's you know, even if you go to the trees, you can see that there's a lot of low poly things, just straight branches. Have you ever seen a branch this straight shooting right out of the main bark? I mean, the main body of the tree. I mean, what do you call this part of the tree? I don't know, but yeah, I mean, you can see that it's quite low poly. It's not too detailed out there. But yes, I don't really have to complain about the train, because the train is bloody well detailed. I really like how they have modeled the trains. They are really well detailed, and I like I was saying, that you can actually come down to these sections and you can play around with things like the coupler and the linkages and everything. You can actually come down to these things. Do you have manual brake over here? A lot of these freight cars will have a lot of manual things going on. You can actually climb up the ladder, and so you can do a lot of detailed things. You can actually climb up this side of the ladder, come down. You can uncouple the locomotives from the rest of the train. So yeah, that requires a lot of groundwork to be done. That again requires you to get down from the locomotive and walk. That explains why WASD, right? So yep, let's get inside the train. Let's open the door. Okay, this is weird. Otherwise, if I wasn't in this training lesson, it would have given me the option to close the door as well. But currently it just walks from legends to legends. So basically, the first one wanted me to open the door, the second one wants me to open this door. So I'm not getting the option. Probably it'll be done automatically. So open the next door and come. That's the cabin. That's the cabin of the lead locomotive. Yeah. This is the second man's seat, and this is the second man's seat again. Shouldn't this be the third man's seat? Anyway. So yeah, this is the second man's seat. Basically, the conductor of the train sits here, and the engineer sits here. Basically, the one who drives the train, right? This is we can talk about this a little later. There are a lot of things that I can control. Like each of these buttons, you can actually flip. Window heaters you can turn on or off, or refrigerator you can turn on or off. So yeah, you can actually play around with a lot of things. Like let's say you can turn on the fan. You can see the fan spinning. Yeah, you can actually increase the fan speed. Yeah, this is the level of detail that I was talking about. It's crazy. I mean, and now I am not really complaining about the low poly graphics that we saw out there, because the detail that they've worked on in the inside of the I don't know what it's called. It's called cabin. It's called cockpit. I don't know, but yeah, they are phenomenal. You can actually do things that doesn't really require a lot of attention. I mean, who would want a controllable fan in a simulator? I mean, that's just crazy, like crazy detail. Yeah. Okay. The game wants me to sit in any available seat. So basically, let's just get inside the second man's seat. Or before that, should I just show you guys the rest of the train? Yeah, I can actually go here, open the chain linkage, and go along the path, cross from first locomotive to the next one, and this basically stops me. Oh no, actually I can open this door as well, then close this door, and this is the second locomotive. Yeah, powered locomotive. Oh, I can actually close the door. So like I said, I do get the options to close the door and do things like that, but currently I have to follow the instructions that the game has to offer. So let's just get inside the seat. Press E to get in any seat, and press E again to
You can
come out of
pause
it.
the experience at any point and review previous and current objectives. Check it out now, and then return to the game when ready.
All right, so just by pressing escape, you come onto the screen wherein you get the option to quit and go to settings, restart, or do whatever you want. There's the HUD guide that basically tells you what's what. Like this is a more in-depth, in detail guide that basically tells you a lot about what's going on with your train than what's going to happen in this tutorial. So we'll get there a little later. Then this is control guide, basically the key mapping and everything. You can see it over here. There's the overview of what you're doing. So basically, if you're doing something, you will get a timeline of it on the screen. Then this is the map. This is a short map of the current objective that you're doing. This is that short map. And then if you press M, that brings you to this humongous map that basically tells you that it's going to be a lot of fun playing around with a simulator, right? So this is the map of the sand patch. Great. So just before we get out of the map, I'd like to show you guys this huge Cumberland rail yard. Yeah, you can see the amount of tracks that the rail yard has. Yeah, and one of those scenario lessons that we talked about earlier, they will walk you through the Cumberland rail yard, wherein you have to do a lot of things. You actually have to switch tracks, you switch trains, you have to work with multiple locomotives. It's a super interesting and very engaging lesson, right? This is the turntable. It's another interesting thing that the simulation or the program, the game has to offer. Crazy, like you can actually play around with the turntable. You can bring up your locomotive on the turntable and then just keep spinning. Do things like that. It's crazy. It's just amazing. Right, come out of it.
A lot of time will be spent operating trains. So when ready, sit in the engineer's seat.
All right, so you can get up from this seat. You just have to press E and you'll be up, and then get into the engineer's seat by pressing E again.
A heads-up display has appeared on the right side of the screen. This is a guide to what the train is doing. This is the speed display. The white needle shows current speed. The red marker indicates the maximum permitted speed.
All right, so from now on, it's going to tell me a little about how to read the HUD, the heads-up display, and the things around, like basically let's just get on with it, right? Let's just press E to continue.
This is the direction display. An arrow will indicate forward, reverse, and neutral directions.
So like I said, there's very little information that the game has to offer when it comes to training, right? It just said that the arrow will show you what direction, but it did not tell you how, on what basis is this arrow going to show you the direction on, right? So let's just press E to continue. I'll get there in a while.
This is the power display. A number will indicate what position the power control is in.
Okay, so as a simulator user, I can tell that if you are used to simulators, a power display is always about throttle, right? So if this is the power display, then it's going to do something with the throttle, and that is the throttle. Basically, what I've learned from the time that I've spent on this simulator is trains run on throttle that goes in notches, right? So there is a throttle at notch 1, notch 2. It goes almost up till notch 8. That's the max that I've seen on these kind of trains. There's a notch 8 that's full power. Even in the movie that I talked about, The Unstoppable, the train that the other two are chasing, the coaster train, or rather the unmanned train, is in notch 8 full power. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the throttle can go up till notch 8, and this number over here, the 0, that square, will indicate what notch your throttle is on. It's set on, so you can just think about the power that your train is running at. I personally want this level of detail when it comes to training, but the game has to offer very little. Anyway,
These are brake indicators. They show the state of the various brake systems, allowing independent management of them.
all right. So it just say that they show the state of various brake systems. Yeah, I can see there's something called as BC, MR, ER, BP. I have no idea what these things are. I'm still to figure out. I really haven't figured out how the braking works on these locomotives, on these trains, right? But yeah, I mean, and since I don't know much about it, I can't tell you guys. So I still have to figure out. Let's see what happens in future. But yeah, I mean, I can at least expect it to tell me what these 4 different sections are for, right? Press E to continue.
In the top right are the signal and speed limit displays. These feature an indication of what is approaching and a countdown distance to when they will come into effect. Some of these displays can be hidden via the settings menu for a more challenging experience.
All right, so basically, these signs are really important, very, very important. I have actually um, gotten straight into opposing traffic when I neglected this sign. So you don't really neglect these signs. This one indicates that the track is clear and you're good to go. This one indicates that you may want to stop or be prepared to stop, right? And this one indicates that yes, there's something on your track, there's traffic on your track, so you need to stop, right? And when is it coming? Because this is really important. You need to pay attention over here. You will see on the right hand side corner the indicator, and there's a distance given on the left hand side. So basically, it says that track ahead of 1.1 miles is clear, right? So why this distance? Because let's come down to this camera and look at this train. Okay, it starts over here, but can you see this part? Can you see the train still continuing? So you can see it's a huge consist. It's a massive consist, right? You can see there's a lot of train going on, and this huge mass takes a lot of time to stop. That is why this distance is indicated over here, so that you have enough time to take your call, and if you want to stop, you can start preparing a lot earlier, right? So let's get back to the cabin camera and press E to continue.
This train is ready to go. Pull the indicated handle all the way back to get moving.
All right, so it also tells me that I can press A to increase the throttle. I'd be using keys on my keyboard a lot of times when I'm using the external cameras. Like you can see, like I said, it indicates the number that your throttle is set in. It's currently at 3. I'm a notch 3. My throttle is set on notch 3, right? So that I have notch 3 worth of power. That's all I can say, because I'm not really an actual engineer over here. But yeah, I can tell you that I have enough power to, start moving the huge train that I have. So I have given the train power, but it's still not moving. So independent brake systems. Press the open bracket to decrease the independent brake. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the brake lever and pull all the way till I see release, and that basically will start moving my train. You can see the train's moving. The train's moving.
Sandpatch Grade offers the ability to operate powerful and heavy freight trains on one of America's most stunning and famous railroads. You are currently riding an AC 4400 CW locomotive. These are the workhorses of trains operating over the Sandpatch Grade, with CSX Transportation having more than 600 in its roster. Train Sim World allows you to ride and drive trains from a selection of internal and external camera angles. Let's take a look now by exploring the exterior of this train.
Alright, it says press 3 to access the exterior camera. I'm gonna run you guys through a couple of cameras that I have discovered. So let's press 3 first. And use the mouse and the arrow keys to move the camera. So you can use the mouse, you can use the left click, the right click or the mouse. And you can move the camera. So you can actually move the camera, you can move around the length of the train and do things, right? Coming back to the cabin, pressing 2, this is one of my favorite cameras. So I can actually, the camera is hooked onto the train, so it doesn't really leave the train, and you can actually just, look around with your mouse where the camera is, and the first time you press 2, it's hooked onto the first locomotive of the train, and the pressing the 2 again will take you to the very back of the train. That's the last freight car or last bogie of the train, right? So basically that's one of the most useful camera that I've found in the simulation. Coming back to this cab,
You've only explored a small area here, so let's take a look at what else there is to enjoy. Welcome to Pennsylvania. Crossing the Allegheny Mountains, the Sandpatch Grade is a vital link in the sprawling CSX rail system. Master the controls of powerful American freight locomotives operating out of the vast Cumberland Yard facility. Whether the sun is shining, there's a rain shower, or a full-on snow blizzard, it's up to you to keep the rail traffic moving. Battle your way over one of the steepest railroad grades on the East Coast. Along the way, don't forget to place safety posters, collect lost hard hats, put up no trespassing signage, and fix broken snow markers. Welcome to the Sandpatch Grade.
Alright, so that was it. That was this first training lesson that we did. And there's a lot more to come, definitely. So basically, this is a screen that tells you what you have done, time taken, distance driven, distance walked, and total score. And AP points, I'm still to discover what these points are for, but maybe I'll find out pretty soon. Yeah. Okay, this basically tells you who's the player, what part of the game that you are in. You're in the Sandpatch, great, and the locomotive that you're driving. Basically, this gives you the level of experience that you have on the particular thing that you're doing, right? So let's press E to continue. That's the Sandpatch grade introduction that we just finished. So that's it for this episode. On the next episode, what we're going to do is we're going to head on to the GP38-2 introduction. The GP38-2 introduction will walk you through a lot of things like the basic controls again, how to brake, how to accelerate, the camera settings and things like that. We'll watch that in the next episode. I hope you have liked what I have shown you in the first episode of the train simulator. It's early stage. I'd like you guys to comment below and tell me what have you liked and what have you not liked about this video. I'm going to try improve the game. I'm going to try improve the experience of this recording with the help of your feedback. So feedback is extremely important. You please comment and tell me what you would want to see on the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me on this one. I shall see you guys in the next one. Till then, bye-bye.